Employers very much do not look for the finished product. They never do. They're looking way, way, way before that, because that's the reason why, for a solicitor, you do a training contract. There's a reason why it's a training contract, because you are not the finished product.
One of the lecturers here, Steve Downing, actually interviewed me for my position at the CPS, and he's been interviewing for a number of years at the CPS, and one thing that he really looks for is just genuine interest and passion in criminal law. So when I spoke earlier about having those examples of even working in retail at Christmas, those kind of things are important because it shows you've got life skills, that you can talk to people. But having that added interest in the law, perhaps going to court, seeing what's actually happening at court, or keeping up with the news. Has there been a high profile case recently, for example? That's what he's looking for, and I think over the years I've attended various law fairs, and some here, some of the students say to me, what grades do I need to be a prosecutor? And grades are important. It shows that you do have, knowledge and you're able to apply yourself. But we weren't looking for a specific number. It wasn't, right, you've got to get a 67 to come and work at the CPS. And in fact, over recent years, our threshold was lowered to a 2-2 because the organisation recognised that it's not all about grades, and that there's so many ways that you can show your skills as a person, and what they're really looking for is common sense, legal acumen, and just a passion for the job. That's it.
I think as well, from an employment perspective, I can't really talk on behalf of an employer because I'm only newly qualified. But having gone through that process of leaving this university, studying to be a barrister and then applying for pupillage, a pupillage isn't easy to come by nowadays. The competition's quite tough. I was lucky, but I think the main thing that, especially in legal practice, that employers look for is somebody who cares, because at the end of the day, you're not dealing with your own matters, you're dealing with other people's business, and they come to you at a time of emotional stress, very difficult time in their lives, because it's sort of like I said earlier, it's a last resort to get the courts involved. So I think you've got to care, you've got to be passionate about helping people, and thinking outside of the box, coming up with solutions, being a people person. I think that's equally just as important as grades. Grades, as you say, are important. They're not the be all and end all, but you can't lose sight of that you are helping people. You need to have that knowledge. The grades are not difficult to get. I think if you put the right effort in with the correct motivation, I think the grades will naturally come to you because of the way that you are taught.
And I think there's a perception that for law you have to come at law as a finished article and you're the right kind of person to be a lawyer. And I went to a state school. When I came to this university, my essay skills, for example, were not fantastic. And my grades improved over the years, and I ended up doing a master's. If I'd have given up after doing my first few essays when I got, terrible grades, then I wouldn't be sat here now. So I think a huge part of it is resilience. And, if you want to do it, it's there for you to do it. Don't be held back by a lack of confidence.
Yeah, employers very much do not look for the finished product. They never do. They're looking way, way, way before that, because that's the reason why, for a solicitor, you do a training contract. There's a reason why it's a training contract, because you are not the finished product. That's why the training contract is there. Same for pupillage. You are not the finished product. You are there, you do a pupillage and develop into the start of a finished product. Even after a training contract, even after a pupillage, you're still not the finished product. You are consistently learning on a daily basis. And I think it's having that open-mindedness to allow yourself to learn every day and learn and continue to learn new things, and not shutting it off that is what makes you open to employers, I think.
I completely agree with that. You've also got to kind of sell yourself, but not your academic self, because people always focus on when you're kind of in your second year, your third year, you know, you need to find the employment. The employers are looking for the right kind of person, but they forget to tell the students, you're looking for the right kind of employer. You're looking for the kind of firm that, if you're going for a training contract, that suits you, because not every firm is the same. And I know when I was looking, you know, some people go for the big ones, kind of your big names. I wanted to stay locally. I liked Hull and I liked the kind of environment, the people. I wanted to work here. So people often overlook that, but I knew I wanted a local firm, and that's what I was applying for. That's what I was looking for. And I remember my application process for, in comparison to some of the other ones I did, the local one that I did and for Gostrocks, it was so enjoyable. And they weren't looking for, they'd seen my grades, they'd seen my application, but when they were interviewing me, they were asking questions about my life, my personality, and it was my personality that fitted them, but also their work and their style that fitted me. I remember during my interview process, I had to do kind of a 20-minute presentation on anything. Something you're an expert on was the debrief. So I picked dystopian fiction. So I sat there with my future employers and I gave them a 20-minute presentation on dystopian fiction, because that's what I enjoy, that's what I have a passion for. And what they took away from that is I was a passionate person. I have interests outside of law, and kind of my personality and how I would fit in then with their firm, with their colleagues, with their clients. And that's what they took, and that's also what I wanted. So I think that's something a lot of students forget. Look for employers that fit you as well.
Yeah, interviews are very much a two-way street. It's not
Completely.
about them looking at you. You've also got to look at them. I think one of the questions I was asked when I was interviewing for where I am now was, why Hull? Why do you want to be a barrister in Hull? And I says, well, I went to university here, blah, blah, blah. And they went, no, why Hull? Why not London, Manchester, Birmingham? And I think it was a fair question, and it made me think, why not go to a bigger city? And for me, it's Hull is a very tight-knit legal community in terms of legal practice. And if you go to a place like London, you are a very small fish in a very, very big pond. And it just does not compare to any city like Hull, because what I found from the experience that I did whilst I was on my degree here and doing work experience was that you very much have an arm around you here. It relates to the tight-knit community of the university. It's the same for the legal community. You have a wealth of knowledge in loads of different firms. There are numerous solicitors' firms. And other, numerous barristers' chambers as well. And whenever I get stuck, I'll turn and ask a question to somebody. It might be from a complete, not even a colleague, from a completely different firm, and they'll help you, and they'll sit down, they'll put that arm around you. You've got that comfort blanket, whilst also being pushed out of your comfort zone to try and excel, because that's where you really learn, is outside of the comfort zone. And I think you've got that safety net that you wouldn't have in a bigger city.